All right, game two. LNG deciding to take blue side. We get a Rel flex into Liana. Tristana flex as well, moving into the bot lane. Now, this is 13-13. This is before the Tristana buffs, but something that we talked about during the patch review in the 13-16 review is that Tristana's gotten a buff now against a lot of the ADs, and especially since you're going to see some Jaces, and you see LeBlancs and Akali's grabbing Static Shiv components to start the game, the fact that you get extra armor in the early game is a big deal for Tristana. It also makes her strictly better in the bot lane. And that combination makes her a very dangerous flex pick. So this game, without that even happening, you're just seeing her naturally go in the bot lane. This lane is deadly. Even through an Alistar, Varus does not have getaway potential. So I'm expecting to see a flash Q from Leona, followed up by the E. You also see the Glacial Augment, ensuring that during the duration of the route that they've negated as much of the damage as possible. Alistar's job is going to be to create knockups in that window, right, while they're going all in. Interestingly, by Tristana not opting for another combat summoner, instead just going to try to cleanse the ignite from Alistar. There's nothing else. Later in the game, you're going to get a little bit from potentially cleansing a slow, but largely, more importantly, the Sejuani and Annie engages, saying, nope, you're not going to chain CC me. I want to make sure that we have that. So that's the operating between it. And cleanse, just fine in lane. Now this time 369 taking it too, saying, oh, you know what, I'm gonna learn from what we had last time. Remember me. Grasp procs, corrupting potion, going ham onto this matchup. Now K'Sante, once they have access to the 3 levels, is going to be stronger. We'll have the mobility to never get hit by Q2 from Poppy. We'll see if they're able to turn that, but early pressure going the way of 369. Now we do have a little bit of vertical jungling going on. Red side into eastern quadrant. Rel's going for a little invade, and Kanavi's actually going to pay the price here. Rel should be able to get this blue. Now we'll see if Sejuani is keen to it and decides to come straight to the blue. She does, but it's too late. So it's one blue buff in the beginning of the game, not the biggest deal in the world, but Rel's going to look to hover and continue to put pressure, especially since Sejuani is low here. Moving up into that bush to get the sound effects. Now we'll see if Hong and Gala can look for their window here. It is possible for Alistar. Oh, look at that. It is possible for Alistar to interrupt these plays forward, and Alistar is classically very strong against Leona, and that's going to be their answer. It's like, hey, you can jump on Varus, but if you do it while we're under our tower, I'm going to headbutt you into my tower and go from there. And because you've gone for Glacial Augment, you're not going to be able to survive it. If you had gone for Aftershock, maybe you can survive two turret shots, but with Frozen Glacial Augment, you're not going to be able to do it. But LNG has secured the situation that they want, which is a lane coming back. The problem is that it's Tristana, right? Tristana is never going to be able to secure and keep freezes while she has points in the E, which of course she does because of the lethal threat at level 2. One of the tricks that you can do is to not level your E until you jump in, right? You just keep the point available. Similarly to how Kled doesn't put a point in his W until he's ready to fight, or when he's dismounting, so that he gets the immediate remount. You can do that with Tristana so that you don't automatically push the wave, right? So you can play your entire game, you can set it up, and it's like, okay, if you want to fight, then I'll level E and I'll cast it. But until then, when I want to hold freezes, I don't actually want points in E. I want to make sure that the wave can come back to me, because right now this is exactly the situation that Alistar wants. If you can look at the mini-map, right, Leona can't really engage, because if you do, that means you're going to die to Alistar under turret. And so great job by JDG holding this lane in the position that they can get, showing a masterclass in laning right now. We'll see if we can get, yeah, we see that we have points in E from the Tristana. Now this can be parlayed, this can be segued into extra chip damage, and saying, hey, we're looking to deal the maximum push at maximum speed. We'll try to reset the lane and get out when we want, kind of control the tempo, saying, yeah, you can keep the freeze, but we're going to control tempo. And now you have the inverse of that position, right? You're going to see the dematerializer push, get them out of this bad spot. Varus has secured themselves 17 extra CS to shop with at no cost. Now Alistar's going to go here, check this out, using headbutt, buffered the E by Hong on Leona, and they have to get out. Punishes the mistake. Love the idea, but perhaps was not thinking about the repercussions. Everyone talks about how Alistar can counter Leona. That is how Leona can counter Alistar. When you react to the headbutt, you cast the E, it latches, you get bumped away, and then it reconnects you and brings you up in time to get the stun off. Missing's idea was, hey, my Varus wants to get a recall, and I want to make sure that they're not freezing, but ends up paying for it with his life, and they end up coming up, pushing the rest of the wave in anyways. One of the problems with letting the wave get all the way under the turret is that it becomes much faster to slingshot backwards. Now let's check out the rest of the action. Tristana jumping in right away, knowing that they've got the upfront damage. Annie's going to have to get everything she can, but it's not enough. You're going to see resets here from Tristana flashing out. Now they're a little bit afraid. Varus has shown up just in time. We get double stuns, we get cleanse. Moving out in the fight. We'll see if LeBlanc's able to hold this down. Nope. A little bit of button mashing at the end. Ends up paying the price, and JDG coming back despite a demonstrable advantage played by the heads up play by Hong. Ruler's able to get back into that situation, and we see the same thing as last game. We have resource lead to Ruler. We see big engage, chain CC, pop pop. We get night cooldown. Yeah, they just never get the spells out. We got Tibbers at the very, very end. They almost get it out with no Tibbers. If they had done it with no Tibbers, this is a blowout fight. But because Tibbers is pushing Scout out the entire time, all that AoE burning damage plus the extra effects. LeBlanc trying to get a little bit fancy there, misses out, gets knocked up. I see Zika taking more of these trades. Corrupting potions are going to go down, but this is where Cassante is going to take this matchup. Alistar a little bit late to hold this wave, but is still in position to look at the Herald. But this time they're going to say, hey, no, we want to keep Varus here. We're not even going to head fake over. Sorry, that would be Tristana. No, all right, no, they're going the opposite. They push in the wave hard. Gala is moving over towards mid lane, right? Classic Herald rotation. Get your AD carry to mid lane, help to push up. The price that you pay is that Varus gets some alone time in the bot wave. The difference between this game and last game is that Ruler's coming off of a recall, not off of the just being in the lane already, right? So it takes him a little bit longer to push in. We'll see how many plates he gets. Probably just one, maybe zero, since there's no sign of Tristana. They didn't actually have to fade this play or cover this play at all. And you see Missing already coming back to chaperone this lane as well. Top side's going to be left weak, and that's fine by them. The chain CC is something worth talking about with Sejuani, right? We've got the permafrost set up with Alistar, so if they can lock onto a target, it'll be very, very easy to finish them off. Plus, you've got the AoE knockups and hold down from Alistar and from Annie and Sejuani. Should be a good front-to-back situation. Varus, a very good long-range support for those plays. Now we do see that they're going to go for carry, full carry mode, not going for Yumu's Ghostblade or going for AD, not going for AP either. Although there could be a world where we could see like Kraken Slayer, Static Shiv and go on hit, but probably unlikely. It could happen in these fights. You do have fairly low range champions in Rel, Cassante, Leona. Even LeBlanc is going to get in there. So having charged up autos for those situations could be okay, but we expect Kraken Slayer into more traditional damage. But we'll see. Rageblade is just a very naturally great item on Varus. Rel coming over into Southern Quadrant. We see the ward timers. We got defensive ward on the shallow end here, meaning they're not feeling very strong compared to this Varus. Varus finishes Kraken Slayer. You see all these pro guys going Kraken Slayer because it is just the most damage you can get at the beginning of the game. that flat bonus that you get so much, and it's decent scaling, right? It's going to last all game. Rel coming over. We're going to get 3 plates in the pocket of the Tristana. Correctly leaving, right? Ending up with only 2, but that's fine. You walk away and you say, okay, they either answer and I get 2 plates, or they don't answer and I get 3. But in both situations, as long as you walk away, you're okay. Dodging the stuns. LeBlanc coming out to get a completely one-sided trait. Scout completely winning that against Knight right there. Ooh. Ruler hunting, missing by a tip right there. Ooh. We'll see if he goes all out. Had a position there to go over the wall. Saying now is not the time. I'm just totally fine here. Got my wave in anyways, right? That would be the only downside to that play, is if Poppy's able to actually get you out in time and able to hold the wave. But instead, Cassante able to get it all the way in and uses teleport, so misses out on almost nothing. Only the 3 melees coming across there, so they're in a really good spot for themselves. We'll see if they use the tempo swing for themselves in a good way here. We get Gala pushing up right away, so they're looking to tag this plate. Now, if you're Varus, you could actually let this plate fall. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually saw him let it fall. LeBlanc trying their hardest to get this in. Is probably worth using the ultimate here, but going to have some patience. No rush. Has Static Shiv online. So once you have that Static Shiv, of course, they're going to be happy playing for wave clear and then playing for LeBlanc Gaming after this. Different from your old LeBlancs. Poppy's going to come out and hold the wave, but has Bomby Cinder. Scout perhaps lucky to not proc the Static Shiv there. Now this is going to be a battle for Andy to keep up with the wave clear here, but doing enough to allow their team to get into the dragon position. Now they're going to retreat back. The big problem that they're going to have for themselves right now is this lead on Cassante. Poppy's going to scale just fine, just like last game, but this is the stage where LNG can flex through this position in top wave. You also have your spike on LeBlanc, so she's able to move. Tristana's spiked as well. So on all these champions, this is really their big window to make it all happen. Varus is going to continue scaling through the game. The low mobility will always be a problem, and you're going to see that Leona's target is basically always going to be there on Ruler, but Ruler brought cleanse for themselves. Make sure that we're not going to get any first CC into the rest, keeping flash and cleanse available. We're going to see how they position as the game goes on. Now, we might see rotations soon. I expect Tristana to make their way mid. Now, Varus can come down because this wave is already in his lap. But I do expect them to have Tristana over to mid. And yep, that's what they do. LeBlanc's going over to bot wave. LeBlanc is going to challenge Varus tremendously. Now, this is a position where if Varus lands the ultimate on LeBlanc, they do have kill pressure. All right, make no mistake about it. They can get that kill. The problem is that LeBlanc basically never offers an opportunity. And as it will basically be for the rest of the game, 1 auto and Static Shiv plus W, you will clear the entire wave. Now, how do they answer? They opt for Annie in the top lane, Poppy in bottom, moving Varus over to mid. Lens is there. Alistar's going to try to get position. They're going to be fighting against some good wards already down in position. You see the control ward by Krugs, another one in the red in the Bramble Pit, means that they're going to be able to get first action on the Rift Herald. They also have LeBlanc, but LeBlanc's on no teleport. Poppy's got hers. So if it does come to an all-in, oh, little chain CC here. Good job by Scout, realizing that there's no real way out of this, and instead you just go forward. Don't even try to go back. If you go back, Poppy will kill you. Ends up stepping forward, getting the rest of the plate, rest of the turret for themselves. So really well done by Scout. And now you have to respect it for the rest of the way. Once Scout got hit there, basically Poppy had the run of the mill. They had teleport advantage, they had HP advantage, they could do everything. No way LeBlanc is going to get anywhere to contest that fight. which does mean that JDG is able to get Herald for themselves. No, they're opting not to. They're just moving away. They say, hey, we're going to step out, get mid-prio, showing good patience, just like they did last game, checking every box, right? We're this good. If we're this good, we don't need to make these rush plays. We can take it. We can take it moment by moment. Good job by Scout getting the maximum here, controlling the bush and using it to obfuscate their move into the mid lane. LeBlanc might be looking to get a chunk here, especially on Varus. Opting, nope, coming back. Now this doesn't really matter if you're not going to get access to all of these hits. There's no real rush to get here, and you could have potentially made a play. It's fine, correct? You know, you got 5 CS. Congratulations, that's fine. But 84 golden experience compared to potentially having the tempo to be able to resecure topside river for yourself and at the cost of just a little bit of damage on the turret, I would say would have been worth it. I would like to see LNG. Once you get to this post-laning phase, it's much more about tempo, less about the resources, making sure that you're getting the maximum. Even if you're not getting individually the most, the fact that it's unlocking your team to get the most and get a net bigger prize is always going to be good. In the end, it looks like they punished the recall timers and they get it anyways. So they may have had a call that they could have waited and been fine. Kind of surprised that JDG didn't look to force a little bit more there, having the teleport advantage from the Poppy. I have to assume that they lost track of a teleport timer. A ruler showing max distance is going for the Rageblade build, all right? So we have that. Is just a very nice pairing with Kraken Slayer in general, and just such a nice item for Varus in general, especially against all these champions that are getting into melee range. Like even Tristana to an extent is going to be jumping into these fights. Wow, LeBlanc really going at it this time. Hey, that worked out pretty nicely last time. They've got Herald for themselves. Do not use the charge. Do not use the Demolish proc, I should say. They're using the Rift Herald. Now, Casante's going to move up, stay in area, but they actually don't get the charge. Well played by missing. Getting a good flank position. Looked like for a moment they could have gotten more out of that. LNG maybe could have gotten that turret without using the Rift Herald and then could have dropped it to get the charge on the second one. Here we go. We've got the engage. Look at the position coming over. We've got Annie and Leona in the flanks. Let's see how much of this fight and how long they're willing to hold on to it before Leona's going to pop an ultimate here. They're waiting. Leona's saying, no, my ultimate is for one person and one person only. We'll take this fight, but I have to hit Ruler. And because Ruler's playing back, we're going to see a little bit of a retreat from JDG. Annie finds the flash open. They've knocked one person out, basically dead. We'll see if we get the ultimate back, and just superior team fighting, as it just always seems to be. And Ruler just unmarred. Once he sees the Leona cooldowns, all the ults, then he comes in. Masterclass again from Ruler. Survive, survive, survive. Wait till the point where they feel like they have to use their spells, and that's when you come on in. Doesn't get any kills for themselves, but is going to be massive. We get a root into a cleanse. Now that cleanse being used there didn't really do much. It does provide a little bit more pressure, but now that there's no cleanse, they can make that call that, hey, we maybe find this window. Not enough from Zika on this pullback onto 369, especially with Tank Poppy. It's just not enough. I need to get more if I'm Zika in the next fight. Good flash. Annie and Varus just showing such patience. And Knight on Annie, the way that they did at Worlds, just terrorizing everybody. All tournament long was basically putting on a masterclass on that champion. Wait. You either find it, but it's always flash in. It's always flash in. Flash stun. Don't try to walk up into the perfect spot. See the moment, and in the moment you see it, boom, you're in. And for that reason, you're always going to see Lucid Boots. Right, just always going Lucid Boots. It's all about having more flashes, making sure that you have, even if you have a late engage or relatively late, that you still have time to have an early one for the next objective. Throws off their timers a little bit as well. Make it so it's not just 5-minute math. See how well they are at tracking you with extra ultimate cooldown and flash cooldown, right? Now, LeBlanc versus Poppy. This is Poppy favored if you get into a fight in any way, shape, or form. Basically, Poppy's looking to do this sort of trade all the time. Use your cooldowns, jump forward, and peg a little bit of damage. Interestingly, though, Poppy has put spells on cooldown and is now in a position where they can get punished by LeBlanc. Cooldowns are back up, so they're fine. But we might just have a completely uncontested Baron right here. Now, Cassante should be looking to ultimate right here. Pop the Sejuani out. There you go. They're out. Lock him down. Leona pumps him out, and Rel goes for the kill. So they're going to spend 1 life to get Baron. That is absolutely worth, especially when you have LeBlanc and the side wave who would be struggling. Instead is going to be able to take this wave just fine. Trade their resources or wave pressure. Basically, Poppy has no way in now, right? Like, you just can't do enough to the wave and to the LeBlanc. You're always going to be taking all this extra damage. Is a tank is still going to be fine and is still going to be able to take chunks like that. But basically, LeBlanc can just say, all right, I can just exist. I don't need to do anything else. I don't need to put myself into the wave to threaten myself against the Poppy. So maybe right now it took him 1 iteration to figure that out. But by all means, if you're a LeBlanc in this situation, you no longer need to die forward. Just let your minions chunk. Just be patient. Let one of your minions die. It's fine. Go for a late static shiv. That's completely acceptable, right? Or even W first into and then immediately pop back. Do unpredictable things to make sure that the Poppy can't get a hold of you. But we're gonna see some side to side, maybe a little bit smoke and mirrors from LeBlanc. Dragon is up, or coming up shortly in 30 seconds. We've got a 3-0 lead, but the Baron is up. How much are they willing to go to push forward? Rel's going to be very dangerous securing into these chokes, into these funnels. Alistar and Sejuani fronting here for the Annie, and Varus always positioning behind. Varus in the late game, as you're wont to see Ruler do, control wards late in the game. If they get early control wards, it's for positional advantage. And then later you get that control ward for that position where you just need to have the control ward, just like they do right now. So uses both to get around that bend and to control this area. This is the #1 flanking position for Annie as a red team, and is able to take it for themselves, staying out of range. You see JDG missing, trying to go in. We get the engage from Annie. They're gonna spend everything they can to try to get this soul, and LNG actually doing the right thing, pressing the play forward and saying, we don't want to wait for this to be a coin flip. We want to actually take this fight while we have the advantage, and we're going to go up and get the maximum. Ruler is dead, Knight is dead, so there is no damage left on the side, but they do have smite available. So Sejuani might be looking to get themselves a Ocean Soul and saying, hey, this is the win we're going to take. Now let's try to get out and get the least amount of casualties here. Maybe we can even get 1 trade back because it's tank versus tank. Are they just going to win the 2v3? God, Poppy's so good. Poppy is so strong. I mean, Sejuani and obviously too. You know, both of them together, just so hard to die in those positions. If there's not a Tristana to rip through people, totally happy. Now, they do have the big advantage that they had at the end of that. Having the Ocean Soul means that the 2 tanks are basically never going to die to that composition. Right, once you have Leona, Rel, Cassante versus versus Ocean Soul, there's nothing left to do. Basically, it's going to be Tristana or bust. Gala immediately jumping over. This is the difference between last fight. Just the amount of time that you have in the fight. Now, you do get plenty here, but just getting them out of the fight, the edge of the Poppy range going in, we see all out. Trying to get the maximum, but the flash, finally, Alistar holding onto it the entire fight to get 1 flash knock up onto Gala. Gala still not having the cooldown available, ends up having to jump out. I'm not surprised that they left here. Yeah, they're skirting around thinking, hey, maybe we can do it. I do want to point out how important it is to have these control wards in the bushes that JDG have them in. When you're in the middle of those long fights, the ability to drop in and out of vision is tremendous, right? And that is a huge advantage. Oh, we got double secure. They actually blocked down Ruler. And did they just punt the game away? Not realizing, hey, we have to play safer. We don't have cleanse and flash. I wonder if there's a cooldown called out that they just weren't expecting here. But Leona able to lock onto Varus, and that's going to be basically ball game. 5k advantage. You're going to see a push from Tristana. 2 people stopping pushes, stopping the backs here. Also getting a delayed kill. Even if they don't get this kill, the fact that they're keeping Sejuani away, be fine for the team. But God, this guy's so big. And you see LeBlanc. This is, LeBlanc through a couple iterations of nerfs. Just doesn't quite have all the damage that they want. Night Harvester and Static Shiv are basically meaningless against a tank. This is not who they're meant to kill. And this is, Ocean Soul. They end up getting 2 turrets for themselves, getting the inner turret, and they're going to secure this. Now, here's the big deal. With Sejuani being kept in this position for this long, now she's dead for the Baron respawn. 41 seconds, right? It's going to be coming up just about at the exact same time. So Sejuani's going to have to get on their horse or on their pig to get into position for this one. That's going to be a big problem. Now, what you have to do as JDG, enemy team has used all their resources to keep Kanabi out of the Baron pit for the next fight, right? They've also gotten a gold lead for themselves. What you need to do is force the play right now into an area, say, hey, you guys are out. We'll pause for a moment to take a look at the fight. Rel engage into Leona, long range, able to find those angles, and that's how they get it. You need to wedge yourself into a position right now, so that enemy team has to go in slowly. All right? They're not able to get enough, and that means that LNG is able to walk in here right away, and they start Baron right on spawn. Knight's coming in with the teleport. They're saying, okay, fine, you're going to go for it. We're going to make the fight about right now. We've got the Ocean Soul, so we're advantage if this fight goes long, but we're down a champion right here, and it looks like Knight's actually getting chain CC'd. LeBlanc's able to take it. They peel off the Baron very well. Missing's going to have a little bit of self-peel, but not enough to kill Gala, which means that we still have an LNG favored situation. Now, Sejuani says, I'm tanky enough to stay in the fight, but how are you ever going to beat Varus on the execute on Baron? Going for the combo, it looked like at 1800 health. Getting the smite and the empowered Q. Now, do they have any amount of advantage here for this actual fight? Varus almost takes it with Rageblade. Had it stacked up on the minions, but it wasn't quite enough, and LeBlanc able to get the difference down. That's a wipe. That's gonna be GG. A lot of doors were opened by JDG in that game. All right, they gave him too many openings. One of the ways that they could have shut a door, or at least said like, hey, let's close this. We don't necessarily lock it shut on you, but they had to press harder while they had 4 people on the bottom side of the map, right? While LNG is putting 4 people bottom to deny the respawn time on Kanavi, that's when you have to go in and say, all right, we're taking control of the Western Quadrant and mid, and we're not letting go. If you guys want to come here, you're going to have to do it by using abilities, checking bushes, coming in little by little, and we can hold it for a little bit, and that will buy enough time for Kanabi. They end up stalling enough to get the Baron, but it's not enough to take the entire fight, so it will be interesting to see this entire fight again. Let's take a look at the minimap right here. I don't like Annie's positioning. There's very little to accomplish by pushing in bottom. It's all about top right now. You just need the waves to not be big enough to end. Top wave is big enough to end. Still showing this engage. See, because of this replay, we don't get to see the movements. But you see, right on spawn, Sejuani's up there already on Baron. They needed to have some amount of positioning where Annie was threatening, and by being bottom, you're not threatening the walk-in. And so LeBlanc's able to come in after her team. They are able to walk in with 4 people, unafraid of the Annie engage in the bushes. So that could have been a window JDG could have given themselves. So let's take a look at the fight. Ruler's going to be stacking Rageblade. Big damage here from LeBlanc. Poppy peeling. Now, how much is Ruler going to use? Now, all of the LeBlanc spells are being used on Annie, and almost no counter damage, and they don't get anything back because Sejuani's not here in time. And that's the difference, right? You come into this fight, you've already got 2 people dead. Congratulations, you get to steal this Baron on the combo, but it's not enough. Flash is being used. Ultimates. Teleport by Scout. Absolutely love the play here. Now, at this point, either wave would have been fine for the end. They end up going in both directions, and that's fine. LeBlanc's not wrong that, like, hey, guys, you could have just come up here. But once the team shows, like, hey, we're all mid, it's fine for her to come over. Actually misses out on a little bit of time. They end up losing a little bit of extra HP on the cannon. Don't think it would have ever, like, really cost them here, although Annie can use the spells to combo down the entire wave. Not with the next cannon coming, but if they were able to get that whole wave down, the HP bars are probably still high enough to be able to tank both the turrets and get the job done, as long as the backdoor bonus is gone.